Hi, Bill here with 30 Minute Woodshop. Thanks for joining. So, today I want to show you how to make a really easy, no-turn bottle opener. So I'm using these bottle opener blanks, I guess you call them, or whatever they are, kit. You can get these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the bottom. Or you can get them from Woodcraft, for instance. Woodcraft makes some really nice ones. The difference between buying Chinese and buying Woodcraft is these Chinese ones, these are cast. So when they cast them, sometimes there's porosity in the inside and they'll break off. That never happens with one from Woodcraft or Rockler or one of those guys. These cheap Chinese ones, because they are cheap, mind you, yeah, you run that risk. But hey, for the price, I can make a couple dozen of these things, give them away. If they break, I can replace them with no problem. You're just going to friends. Easy as pie. And I usually try them out on a couple of beers myself before they go anywhere. So just to be sure. Anyway, so we're going to take this piece of scrap. Now this is a great little piece of scrap. Let's see how long this thing is. So what have I got here? 9.5 inches, and it's inch and a quarter wide, and about an inch thick, roughly, 7/8. Again, just a piece of scrap. This is a perfect piece of scrap if you want to make something like a small spoon, a small spatula, a spurtle, any of those kind of things. And normally what I'd do is I'd run over to the lathe and I'd spin this up and I'd make something. Cut a handle, cut the spatula end, and be good. But today I don't want to use the lathe. I want to show you how to do this without using something fancy like a lathe, all right? I am going to use a power tool. It's going to be the belt sander, okay? But it's still super easy to do. All I'm going to do is I'm going to form this. Then I'm going to go drill a hole. Actually, I'm going to cut this in half because I'm going to make 2 of these out of this. I'm pretty sure I can get 2 out of these. It's a little messed up here with the grain and some splitting. I could fill that with some epoxy or maybe some CA glue. But either way, super easy to do. So let's go ahead and head over to the oscillating sander. This is the rigid oscillating belt sander. They're great for shaping parts, doing that kind of thing. So they're about $250, $260, well worth the price, brand new. Some guys are trying to sell these at $200 or $250 used, and I wouldn't buy one. I'd go for the guys $150 or $175. But they're really useful. So let's get started in making some noise. Well, that went really fast. All right, so I have the basic shape. All I want to do now is just take off any sanding marks because using 60 grit, 1, left kind of a rough surface, but 2, it also left some like little divots and things. So there's going to be some hand sanding and some orbital sanding. So let me do some orbital sanding, clear this up real quick. Orbital sander did really well, about a minute. I got rid of 99% of all the stuff that was going on here. There's a few spots right in here I gotta hit, but then right in these curves right here, where I made these little curves, all right, the orbital sander didn't get there very well, and there's still some flat spots I want to get rid of. So what I'll do, tighten it there. Now what I've done here is I have a piece of 150 grit sandpaper that's backed with duct tape. That makes it very flexible, so I can do this. So that made really short work of the final sanding here. I'm going to do one more step in here. I'm going to put in a 320 grit just to make sure it's nice, really smooth. But this is really good 80% of the way there. Now what I have to do is I got to put in a hole for the opener itself. That'll go in right about there. So I put the hole in, very easy to do. I just clamped it, drilled it straight. Now, here's a problem. I made a mistake, all right? When I made the top piece of this, I made it too thin. which means that when I put the hole in initially, the flange was sticking over on both sides, so I had to cut this piece off and cut a little off the tail. So it's wide enough, so a little bit different. Now, one thing I did do is I put a little thumb depression in there just to give it a little character, but now it fits perfectly. A little bit shorter handle than I wanted, but hey, it's perfectly fine. Next thing I want to do is I want to put a hole in here, and that's going to be for a leather thong, and then I'm ready to do some finishing, and then I'll epoxy the opener directly into the wood. Let's keep working. All I'm doing here is I'm just wiping on some boiled linseed oil. It's not a really thick film building coat like varnish, but it's more than enough for something like this. It shouldn't be washed regularly. Shouldn't even need to be washed. And it'll give it a nice look, as you can see already. And there we go. We'll let this dry up. So great thing with boiled linseed oil, it doesn't take too long. Let it soak in, wipe it off, let it dry, and we'll be good to go. I'll be back in a bit. So all I'm going to do is take this Gorilla Glue 2-part epoxy. We'll mix up some. When you use the 2-part epoxy, make sure you thoroughly mix it. We're just going to let this here dry for about 15 minutes. I know it says 5 minutes, but I was like, oh, about 15. And I'm just making sure right now that it's parallel or the sides, and I think we are done. I love doing these fast projects, and quick simple projects like these are what this whole 30-minute wood shop's about. So didn't need a lot of tools on this one. I happen to use a sander, some hand sanding here, and a drill. You can do this with a carving knife, a Whitley knife. You can do it with some heavy rasps or files. Lots of different ways you can get something like this done. You don't have to use a lathe to turn this. And as you can see, all right, it's a lot flatter, nice rounded surfaces though. I got a nice little thumb depression here to hold on to it. I think this is going to go great. Put a little hole in it here. I got to get a leather strap for it so we can hang it. But other than that, great project. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, check out 30minutewoodshop.com, all right? And also, you can go down below, hit see more, and you'll find links and things to, say, for instance, the opener itself. You can buy some of those. Some of the tools I use and those kind of things. Explore. You might have some fun doing that, see what I'm doing and what I'm using. I know for me, that's the kind of thing I like. And I had a great time building this. I hope you'd give it a try sometime. And on that note, folks, if you got something out of this, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. And until next time, good making.